Welcome, everyone, to Hit the Books. I'm Thomas Casale with Joey Knish. Hey, Knish, it's bowl season. I can't wait to get into everything with you. First, it's already started, and it's been an exciting start to the bowl season, so we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the weekend's plays. Hit the Books on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Circa Sports. Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Experience big app bets with the highest betting limits, better money line splits with the lowest hold percentage, and the best customer service. Sports betting on the go like it's never been better. Download the app, Knish. Circa Sports, a proud sponsor of Hit the Books, and we're happy to have them. How you doing, Knish? How's it going? How's everything going in bowl season?
I'm good, baby. We're off and rolling here. I got the UTSA game on here. Second half kicking off. Had the little Bahamas Bowl this morning. So feels good to be finally in the swing of it here, getting some college football action back on.
Yeah, I had Miami of Ohio in the early game. It's looked like a loser. But now I got Troy. Troy looks like a loser. It's still is at 12-7 now, but I don't know.
Got a little second half, a little end of the first half magic there to make it a ball game. So at least we they're back in it.
Knish, you ever bet a game early and then by the time kickoff comes, you're like, I don't love it. Do you ever do that?
Every week, my man.
Okay. That's how I was with the Troy game. That was one of the first bowl bets and then after kind of talking to you and talking to other people and to me, it was a dead even game. And I'm like, I guess I'll write it out. But it was one of those games where I didn't love as much as I did when I put it in. But
sharp. Oh, good.
Go ahead.
No, sharp move here on you. UTSA in the morning obviously got to 3 there. So, pretty big move. This UTSA team, get the fuck out of here. It was, they've got, you look at this team, they look like a Power 5 team. They've got athletes all over the field. They got size, and it's a great Troy defense, but I just don't know. Gunnar Watson and their offense, they were, against bad Sun Belt defenses, they were able to move it. It's a tough task for them, but hey, they at least got the score to should be able to make it competitive here second half.
Yeah, and you know what, Knish? Some things, I thought there might be some movement with UTSA when I made the play. I thought maybe the coach would be gone, maybe the quarterback would opt out. That was one of those I was trying to get maybe ahead of some things, but they didn't happen. Everybody's back for UTSA, and like you said, when you watch them against a Power 5 school, they look like they belong there. They got talent.
Hey, turnover here, fumble there, Troy ball there. So you're still alive, Tom. I agree. That's one where, if Frank Harris, I thought he was going to go try to the NFL draft and stuff. Obviously, got a bag to come back. If he doesn't play, then you're sitting real good. But I don't know. We'll see. This Troy defense is still real deal here, keeping them alive.
So, Knish, last week I went over my favorite bowl plays. Troy was one of them. This week we're going to look at the weekend's games coming up because there's a ton of games on Saturday. And we'll go back. We'll go over the college football playoffs again, see if you've changed, see what you're hearing, if you've changed your mind on anything from last week, just in case someone didn't listen. I can't imagine people don't listen to us every week, but maybe someone was doing Christmas shopping or had to hang out with the kids or something. So we'll go over those again. So Saturday starts off, Knish, with what I think is one of the toughest bowls to predict because of all the outside variables. Sometimes you get it with one team, but this time we have it with both teams. Louisville, Cincinnati. I'm going to be pulling these lines from Circa Sports Colorado, and at the Circa Sports in Colorado, they have Louisville minus 2.5 over Cincinnati. I can't get myself to bet this game. I don't see any edges. Do you have anything on Louisville, Cincinnati?
I mean, it's going to be an ugly one, Tommy. I mean, a lot of you said, a lot of opt-outs on both sides. Early kick, shitty field, looking like rain, 15, 20 mile per hour winds. I mean, this total, it just keeps coming down. I mean, there's 38.5 out there now at Circa. So I don't know. I honestly, I was hoping that we'd get a little bit of a weather break as the week went on, and I mean a bowl game that's 38.5, and I'd look to play back over. I just can't do it. It's going to be, you've got two inexperienced quarterbacks for the most part. A lot of guys out there, bad field, going to be wet. I mean, the Fenway grass here, I mean, you're going to be like, I know they're importing some stuff there to make a football field, but you're going to have new turf. It's going to be soaked. I don't know. I don't want any. Number one, I'll probably only be up for the second half of this guy. I don't even know if I'm gonna. I might start the day, for the second game of the day here. Honestly, I got nothing on this one. I would maybe look to see how, if you're up early, look to see how it's the conditions and that, and if it's really that bad early for some live betting action. That's the only thing for me. I might play a little bit live in this one. Nothing pregame.
No, I agree 100%. And you don't have to bet every bowl game, right? I
know some people subscribe to that religion. You do, but I mean, if we're trying to give people advice there and actually how to make money in that, and listen, if you got a bowl pool, confidence pool, hey, yeah, I'd probably play. I like Louisville a tad bit more, but I mean, it's not something I'm gonna pregame position on.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of bets going on Saturday. That's not one of them. This next game is one of them. A little birdie told me just before it happened that BYU's quarterback was not going to play. So I hit SMU +1. Now SMU is minus 4.5 with the total 64 with the quarterback news for BYU. I was talking last week, Knish. I remember you would mention something about SMU, BYU, about watch the quarterback. Is this one you hit when SMU was an underdog?
Yeah, I played some early, not a huge position. Like you said, at some SMU numbers that are far gone. It wasn't a huge position just because I'm not a big believer in this SMU team, to be honest. Without their best receiver, who I thought significant. You're talking about a guy that's was probably the most productive or top 3 most productive wide receivers in college this year. So to go without him, also their defense is real bad. Also, Rhett Lashley's had some where they're not using all their bowl practices. He's going around and recruiting. He said, one of those, it's fun to be here. It's a win-win type of thing. Just the type of things that I don't like hearing going in. So honestly, I think there's a chance, BYU might be able to, just line up in the Wildcat and run some of this stuff over here. If anything, and I know this total's come way down now, I even think if you can find 64 out there, I'd probably still lean under. I don't have anything. It's another one that just based on a couple of different factors on both sides, obviously the BYU quarterback change, SMU, a couple of guys opting out, what the coach is saying in that. One that, again, I'm probably going to look to see how it's shaping out early, see if I can get a lean on how each team looks, and then jumping on some live stuff. But at the current numbers, no. A little bit of stale SMU for me, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I took SMU as a slight dog just because of the quarterback switch, but I don't want any part of SMU minus 4.5. If people are waking up on Saturday looking to bet this game, you don't like SMU laying over a field goal, do you?
No, I agree. Once it got, if it kept steaming, and actually we were talking about this on Monday show with Brad when the number was actually moving. I was kind of looking for a buyback point on BYU. It never really. I think it might have hit 6 for a brief, and I don't even see a 6 at at Circa. It looks like topped out around 5.5. So I was thinking, if it got to 6.5, even a 7, I definitely would have been a buyer. Never really got there, came back. So now it's just in the no play zone for me.
All right. Well, this next game, Knish, is I keep checking to make sure I honestly got this number because sometimes I feel like it's a dream. As I said on last week's show, one sports book, which we won't name, opened Fresno State plus 4.5, despite the fact that Haener, their quarterback, flat out came out and said he was playing. I was bobbling my phone. I couldn't hit that button quick enough. So I hit Fresno State plus 4.5, and I hit the money line. Now, other books opened Fresno State a slight underdog at like 1.5. But now, forget about it. Fresno State minus 4.5. So that's a 9-point swing from what I got. What do you do with this game? Like, obviously the early value is gone, but let's say a lot of people bet bowl games are waking up on Saturday. How do you view this game now that Fresno State is the 4.5-point favorite?
Yeah, this one, Wazoo, ton of opt-outs on this one. 2 of their top wide receivers, their best player on defensive linebacker, a couple other guys on defense. So I think the defensive coordinator. So, Wazoo's got a lot of movement here where Fresno basically did not, I think, one wide receiver. But, Haener's. I still think, though, this is a little bit of an overreaction for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not totally. Honestly, if I was playing, I had an early Fresno position. Waiting to see how high this will go. I think there's a 4.5 for a minute, but it looks like 4 is the high now. Actually, probably going to buy back a touch here on Washington State. I still like the over here. There's some mostly flat 53s out there. Even 152.5. One place that I'm seeing right now. I think you get a Fresno team with Haener that if you look at their offensive metrics throughout the season, they're not going to be great because Haener missed a ton of time. Some of their other skill players missed a ton of time. But I think it's a Fresno team that, and if you look at the Wazoo defense, a lot of their metrics look great, but some of that was against a lot of bad Pac-12 offenses, and now they're missing a number of guys on defense. I think the tempo should be up in this game. I think you'll see Washington State, push the tempo. Fresno wanting to get Haener a number of throws in there. He's going to be wanting to throw it around. So I actually like the over here, 53. And if you don't have a play on it as of yet, it'd be a small lean for Washington State plus B. I know they're missing a number of guys. It's still, this is one, if everybody's playing for Wazoo, I'd have them more of as like a 3-point favorite. So kind of you're talking about a full touchdown adjustment here for some of the opt-outs, which is a bit aggressive for me. So, a little bit of Wazoo, a little bit of the over.
Yeah, listen, Fresno State 8-0. Since Haener returned, they've lost one game that he started and finished. That was a last-second touchdown to, Oregon State. He didn't finish the USC game. USC probably would have beaten him, but they were moving the ball on USC. So obviously he makes a big difference. But I'll tell you right now, Knish, I only bet it because I saw plus 4.5. If Fresno State was -3 or -4.5 on the opener, I wouldn't even have bet the game. So This was purely a numbers thing for me. I agree with you. There's no way. I actually lean Washington State at this number.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of the, as you said, +3 either side, +4 either side. It's a number. You said, a great number on Fresno State. That was the bet there. Probably moved a little bit too much now. Now, Wazoo is a little bit of value. So, yeah, I agree. You just got to, play in the market with what you got. And so you got in good there. And I think, it'd be one of those let it ride. And, in the bowl season, I tend to play back a little bit more risk, especially if I'm, betting a ton early than I do during the regular season, because you just don't know what's going to happen in some of these trash bowls. So I tend to do a little bit more, middling than I normally would. But, hey, you got a good number, and you can roll into Saturday feeling good.
And now this next bowl, Knish, this is my favorite play of bowl season. I got Southern Miss of the season. Southern Miss Rice. I think this is blowout. I got Southern Miss. They're 6.5 now. I just think Rice is limping into this thing. They're 5-7. they got issues at quarterback. Their defense is terrible. When you have terrible defense, you can't have issues at quarterback because you got to score. The Southern Miss defense is underrated. I've watched them a couple of times this year. They fly all over the place. I think this game's got blowout written all over it. Do you have a play on Southern Miss Rice for tomorrow?
Yeah, we're aligned here. This is a hit the books trifecta. Powers, Casale, Knish. I don't know if we've had one of those this year yet. Trifecta, hit the book, to close it out bowl season. I like. Listen, I played. So this was actually a little buyback midweek here. I was surprised. Some 5.5s popped. I played some of that. I played some more 6. There's still 6 around a number of places. I like it quite a bit. I can't get to like. The as you said, Rice here team, a lot of injuries down the stretch. They might throw like 3-4 different quarterbacks out there in this game. I know some of the starting quarterbacks got hurt. Wally Green got hurt. They've tried a couple of backups. I think one of the backups who I don't like has been practicing, getting the majority of the reps in practice. And Southern Miss is the team on the show we bought a number of times down the stretch. I liked what they did at quarterback with Trey Lowe. I think they've got by far the better defense, the better skill position talent here. Frank Gore Jr., obviously best skill player in this game. It's just Southern Miss, I wouldn't say they're by any means an electric offense. So when you're talking about, laying almost a touchdown here in the game, they played a lot of, lower scoring team. When we were backing them, they were usually getting points. But you're getting a significantly worse opponent than they were normally facing here week in, week out in the Sun Belt. They shouldn't even be here. They're here because, they got a few nerds on the team that are keeping up the GPA, and they got one of the whatever that's called, the APR there at 5 and 7 that were able to get them in this game. I mean, they collapsed down the stretch, and I just don't see it. I think you had two teams. Now, when you're talking about bowl season, a few weeks off, some of that, would I have rather played this game like a week after, where they, instead of getting 3-4 weeks off there before that? Sure. Yeah. But hey, to me, I think there's still value on Southern Miss here. I agree. Favorite play of Saturday, especially at current, that I think is still buyable. So, this is a good one.
And what do you think of that? Was the buyback just purely a numbers thing?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be interested to see here what happened, because a lot of the serious bowl money, as you see, a lot of the early numbers, if the market's a little thinner, you can get a lot of bounce back and forth. Once you're within 24, 48 hours, especially morning of, that's when you get the most, the serious groups, the biggest money, as you saw, with the UTSA steam going in that one. You've seen some big Florida steam today, so. That's what, I'll be interested to see if this closes at 7 or even a touch above. But I'd say right now, it's definitely 6s. If you can grab one of those, I highly, highly doubt that this will close under that.
All right. Well, the next bowl has a lot going on. Oregon State, Florida. Oregon State sitting at 8.5. They've got up as high as 10.5 that I saw. Now they're back down to 8.5. I think Florida's got like 8 guys dressing for this game. Oregon State, a team that I've liked all season. I bet them a lot. They're going to run the ball right at you. They got a dynamic young tailback out there, Fernandez, who's going to be great on the West Coast for Oregon State. They got a fast defense. I have trouble getting to this big number in a bowl game. Like you said, sometimes there's overreaction to lines because, when you get down to it, it doesn't matter who's going to be on the field for Florida. There's still higher recruits than Oregon State. There's still talent there at Florida. I don't have a great read on this game. The total's sitting about 52.5. Do you have anything on Oregon State, Florida for Saturday?
Yeah, first of all, this Gunnar Watson for Troy, I can't believe he beat Mobile and ruined my South Alabama season. This bum they got playing quarterback. Lucky I got the best defense in the G5 because. But anyway, no. I bought some. I agree with there was it steamed down pretty significantly today. I bought some Florida. I think 10.5. There was some 11 out there. I think the best I got was able to get fills on was 10.5. I agree with. Ton of opt-outs. Anthony Richardson's going down. I will say, this Jackie Miller, high-level recruit, was at Ohio State, transfers to Florida. he had a hand injury, finger injury, something. Wasn't able to really grip or throw a ball most of the season. I like now that he's got a month of. I mean, he's a talented kid, so you actually could see some improved passing efficiency and passing from Florida here. Now, is he going to be the dynamic athlete that Richardson is? No, of course not. But Florida team that has a good offensive line, can run the ball. I think he might offer a little bit more in the passing game than Richardson does. And again, Oregon State, very good season. A team that was a lot of buy on. I think they finished with a really nice ATS record, but again, when you're talking about, SEC, I mean, when you're not in the doldrums of the SEC, most of these teams, you can run. I mean, I remember, I always go back to the LSU second half of the season with Ed Orgeron when, like, half the team was hurt or quit or left, and they're still, like, competing with the highest level teams in the SEC right. with guys that weren't even on, like, the two deep during the season because they got 50 guys who could play at any school. And again, Florida not at that level of talent, but, I mean, they're going to be bringing in, a ton of young guys. So I agree. I thought when this got to 10 and 10.5, 11, it's just too many points for a bowl game unless you're getting a massive mismatch or something like that. So we'll see. Billy Napier, not one of my favorites. But again, it was just the only thing, like, I can't give you a great lean year on Florida in terms of, like, analysis that they should win this game or anything other than I think the number got too high. You saw some sharp people jump on it and get it back down to now where I think about a touchdown's right here.
Yeah, what do you think about Anthony Richardson in the pros? I see some people who like him, some people who just can't believe he'd even be thought of in the first round. What are your thoughts on him in the NFL?
Let's just say I wouldn't want to be, putting my GM career on the line, his development line. I mean, I think people always point to this fucking Josh Allen example. It's like the one out of the like exception to the rule example where somebody who had didn't have a lot of development and a low completion percent gets into the league and then turns into a star. Like the one time, and it took him a few years, and he had to work incredibly hard. And you read stories about the amount of work he put in and the development of the QB coach. I just don't think he doesn't strike me as that. If I'm going to take that level of developmental player who's got a ton of talent, don't get me wrong. The amount of work that you need to put in and the focus and the determination to then get yourself to like an elite level at the NFL, I think you have to be in that mode. Like a guy like Trey Lance is somebody who I've seen come into the league. He doesn't seem like he's the guy that's at the facility 24 hours a day. He's you see him after the game at a strip club and stuff, and you're like. That to me, like, if you're going to need that type of development, it has to be the character and the mindset that is a maniacal work ethic to get yourself up to that level. Because this is a guy who's like a 50%. I think his career completion percentage is like just a touch over like 50% or something. That's not going to do it in the NFL. He might be a great athlete. That's not going to do it. And I agree with you. Like, to me, it's one of those. If I'm talking about Anthony Richardson in the third round, in the fourth, to where I can take a flyer and it's low risk, sure. Am I taking him in the first round? Hell no. I think you could see a Malik Willis level fall for him. And to be honest with you, if you had a gun to my head, I think Malik Willis was more developed as a college player than Anthony Richardson. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see where he lands. He needs to get in the right spot, and he needs to. I think he needs to be. I think he needs to take football more seriously if he's ever going to have it. Because I didn't get that vibe with him in Florida.
Well, the good news for Trey Lance is he should have plenty of time to go to the clubs now. He's like sixth string.
yeah. The girls in the Bay Area were like, this is the greatest. Yeah, Trey doesn't have to go to practice. He can come see us a few times a week.
Yeah, well, that was always a perplexing pick for me. But the last bowl on Saturday, Knish, is Boise State, North Texas. Boise State's quite a big favorite here, laying 11 points. They were hot down the stretch after they made the quarterback change to Green. They ran into another hot team, Fresno State, in the championship game. Lost. North Texas got blown out in their championship game by UTSA. Total sitting at 60. I like the over a little bit here. I just think North Texas defense is so bad that Boise's going to be able to do whatever they want offensively, and they'll be able to put up some points too. Where do you lean in this game?
I can't and again, I try not. You don't try to take too much out of one game. I watched that UTSA North Texas CUSA championship game, and it's just like the UTS. I mean, it looked like Alabama playing like Eastern Michigan, and now you go up against a Boise team that's got similar athletes to this UTSA and a similar front, and that as compared to a North Texas team that defense is horrible. I don't know, like they're super reliant on the run game, and that's what Boise State was great at stopping. I lean, I like this over shot up. I still kind of like it at 59. The question would be like for me is North Texas still going to be able to move the ball? I will say. I know these are hard to find. I try not to give them out because the numbers move a ton. There was some Taylor Green rushing yardage totals in the low 20s earlier today that I bet literally as much as you can't get that much down on college football props, but I was able to get a 23.5 on him today. I'm gonna tell you something. That's good at 23.5. That's good at 33.5. I would expect him to get 15 plus carries in this one against a horrific rush defense. Honestly, that to me was like half of what it should have been. So if you can find him anything in the 20s and the 30s, Green over rush yardages. So take a look at your legals to see if you got that out there. Is UTSA looking like they might score here? But in terms of that, I lean over. I don't want anything to do with North Texas here. I laid some Boise 10, not a huge bet. I don't love laying that type of number in bowl games just in general. But overall, lean over, lean Boise. I have nothing positive to say about what I've seen out of North. They had some, again, when you're playing bad defenses, they had some, nice offensive performances. I don't think they'll be able to replicate that here.
Now, what do you think about Green over at 32?
Yes. 32 is fine for me. I'd still play it. I still think, he's got not only do I think he'll get, this is a horrible rush defense, and he should be able to get a bunch of run. He's got the explosive level talent where, you saw it at the end of that, you win like the worst beat of all time for anybody, that Utah State game where he basically had a 90-yard touchdown. He's got the explosiveness to pick that up on one carry. Plus, I think he gets a bunch of runs. So for me, I like it a lot.
I'm surprised that's that low, to be honest with you. I would have thought it was higher. But then again, college props aren't that big, like you said. And a lot of these books take $10 on them. So I guess you can hang a terrible line if you're not in danger of losing any money. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So that's it for the bowl games on Saturday. Now I'll just I'll throw this out to you. It is there's what the heck do they call it? I call it 1AA. Montana State, South Dakota State -4. This is Montana State's year. They're going to win it.
Oh, baby, you're calling your shot here.
Yeah, Montana State. They made it to the finals last year. Came up short. North Dakota State got them. I think Montana State wins it this year. Give me the +4 against the number 1 team in the country, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. That is all the bowls for tomorrow, Knish. Now let's touch on the national championship, the playoffs. See here if any of your thoughts have changed. And we talked about these last week. Now you and I are both on Ohio State. We got them at 7. They've been sitting firm at 6.5. What have you heard about this game? And do you still like the Buckeyes at 6.5?
It was real. I had a pretty sizable play at 7. I still think there's some 6.5 value. I will say, just in terms of, this is one of those games where it's so heavily bet that you can actually get some. I think people offset the public and stuff like that. This is one of those games that gets such handle, and I think a lot of the handle will be on Georgia. Where again, if you haven't had access to a 7. Wait it out, be patient here. See if you can, keep searching around. I think you should. If you can't, there might be even a couple. Let me see here. There got to be a couple places I think that still have 7 in some places. So, that's one that I feel comfortable that again, when you're getting a touchdown with Ohio State, we've mentioned this on a few times, hit the books. This is a line that before you go 10 minutes before the Michigan game, if Georgia and Ohio State were playing on neutral, the line's probably 3.5. Even the lowest person on Ohio State, I don't know, would tell you it wouldn't have been above 4.5. Now you go up to 7. I like getting that Ohio State off of this I like call it whatever, an angle, a disturber, whatever it is that they get beat up by their rival.
Yeah.
And now they can kind of refocus in. They get a second chance at life. I think some of the issues that they've had just as a program in terms of just taking games too lightly and serious and focusing that, I think will be. And what did we see against LSU in the SEC title game? Georgia's pass defense looked a little shaky. Shaky against a quarterback that's not as good as C.J. Stroud, against wide receivers that aren't as good as the ones that Ohio State's going to roll out. Indoor track where Ohio State will be much more comfortable than having to play outside against Michigan. Listen, I think touchdowns are better. I think Ohio State's very live in this game.
All right. I mean, I'm with you with everything you said, but you mentioned the fast track inside. The total sitting here is 62.5. Well, that's high for a Georgia game. I understand Ohio State can score. You have a lean that way?
I played some early over numbers. I think it's still, again, I think there was a 16.5. What's the best price out there now? See, now it went through. When we were doing the Monday, there was some 60.5 and 61. Now, I think it's priced right now, about 62.5, 63. Yeah, I'd have to leave that one alone now. I thought a lot of the low, the 60, 60.5, 61 was good. Now 62 is, I think, the bottom basement there. So, yeah, I liked over, but I don't think you can chase it at this point.
Okay. Now, the other game, we talked about this last week. I hadn't made a play yet. Got your thoughts on it, but I love Michigan. I love Michigan. I think they're going to pound this TCU team. It was a nice season. TCU had a lot of come-from-behind wins against those Big 12 teams. They're stepping up in class here. I believe that Michigan has one of the best run-blocking offensive lines I've ever seen in college football. Penn State found that out. Ohio State found that out. TCU is going to find that out. Even if TCU stays close for a while, remember Ohio State, that game was competitive, close. I mean, we didn't know who was going to win midway through the third quarter. Then the floodgates opened, right? Michigan just started pounding them. I could see something similar to that, but I think Michigan wins this game start to finish. I assume you're with me on this one.
Yeah, I one of the I was able to drop it. Dropped down to 7 for a minute, which I thought was surprising. So I was able to get that. I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think they got the best offensive line in the country, as you said. It's a Michigan team that finally, in the last couple games, J.J. McCarthy and a lot of the pass offense got rolling. And it's a TCU team that, again, great season, deserved to be here. Super fortunate in a lot of games, super fortunate with injuries. It's hard to play that many close games and then come out on top in most of them. I just don't think it's a great TCU team. So for me, I like under. If you can get a flat 7, even like a 7 minus 120 in that, it's okay. I think most of the boards 7.5. Some of the places will let you buy down there, or you can get a low vig. So flat 7 for me, and under 58.5. It both still in range, and I think both still pretty good.
Yeah, and what do you think about the total in this game? It's a 58.5. I'm struggling with this because I could see Michigan's defense dominating, but I think their offense is going to roll so much in this game. I kind of like the over a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? We're a little head-to-head there, a little one head-to-head. Again, I'm leaning the under. I played some under when it was at like 59.5. I think it's mostly 58.5. Again, Michigan is not going to change their tempo for anything, slow tempo. I know TCU will try and pick it up. I think they're going to have trouble with a lot of, they've been an explosive offense. Michigan doesn't allow that. They're going to play 2 deep safeties in the parking lot and have been able to control the run game basically against anybody. Still playing that type of defense. So I like Michigan's defense slope down, and an offense they're not going to change the pace. So lean under for me there.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's not a huge. I just was, I think Michigan could score in the 40s here. I think it's going to be a blowout. And that's the second. Is that the first or the second game? That's the first game. Okay,
yes.
good, because that would be a bit of anticlimactic. Even if Ohio State's a blowout, I want to see that game second. So there you go. It's going to be interesting. Playoffs going to expand. We'll have more games to bet, more games to talk about. That's always good. But we got the Saturday games down. We got the playoff games down. And hey, listen, you can get all this action, right, Knish? If you're in Nevada, if you're in Colorado at Circa Sportsbook, you've been watching Hit the Books on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Circa Sports. Love having them as a sponsor. Bet like the pros with the world's largest sportsbook right at your fingertips. Experience big app bets with the highest betting limits, better money line splits, and lowest hold percentages. Circa Sports. You can, even if you're like me, Knish, and your state doesn't have it, you can download the app. You can look at lines, compare them to other places. So great tool for bettors of all experiences. What do we got here in the chat here? Anything? The Harris for UTSA is killing me.
Yeah,
I hope
Troy.
he's not
Your
killing me.
Troy boy just took the lead. Yeah, I think they've got like 5 turnovers. So Troy 13-12 now. So hey, you're alive going into the fourth, baby.
We got a shot. So Knish, no one ever tells me the schedule. I don't know where we're going from here. We won't be here next week. I won't be around on the pre-Christmas Friday because of family plans. But I assume we will be back on the 30th, looking ahead to the college football playoffs, the January 2nd bowl games. The NFL took over January 1st, so the January 2nd bowl games. Like to get your thoughts on those as we move on. We got Alabama, Kansas State. We got Penn State, Utah. Some good matchups on January 2nd. And somewhere's in there, I don't even know when the date is Iowa, Kentucky. I suppose we'll have to talk about that at some point. But we will be back. Let's say we'll say December 30th. If they kick us out before then they'll kick us out. But December 30th to go through all the bowls. Knish, thanks a lot. I always appreciate your feedback. Been making some money. I got that prop in, baby. Green over rushing yards. Have a great weekend, a great holiday, and I will see you soon on Hit the Books.